Good morning, social media world. I hope that this finds you well and safe. And something just dropped in my spirit, so powerful and so strong. I debated whether I wanted to share it with you, but I have to. I'm covering my lens because I look a hot mess. It ain't about me, anyways. It's just something I have to release to you. Um, I'm reading a book right now by the former Black Panther Party member, Mr. Dixon, and it's called My People Are Rising. And it is one of the most profound books I have ever had the privilege of reading. It is awesome. Tells about his he tells his story. His story it's autobiographical in nature, but it also talks about his involvement with the Black Panther Party. It talks about the rise of the Black Panther Party, talks about Huey P. Newton, talks about all of the people that were involved, talks about how people tried to kill him on more than one occasion because I guess he was in charge of security at one point. Um, Over there in Washington, that was one of the hotbeds and birthplaces of the Black Panther movement in the 70s. Very, very, very powerful so far. I haven't finished reading the book, but that is amazing. It is an amazing piece of work. If you get a chance, you need to read it. You need to read it. Powerful. What I love about his book so far is that he tells the truth. He just tells the truth about what happened with the Black Panther Party. We all know that eventually the Black Panthers um, disintegrated and they stopped congregating, they stopped serving the community. I think a lot of us aren't aware of exactly what happened to cause that to happen. A lot of us, we like to say COINTELPRO, and COINTELPRO definitely had a hand in disbanding, if you will, or causing the Black Panthers to no longer be. But there's also some other forces. There were some other things that happened within the Black Panther Party that caused them to no longer be. Now you need to understand something. I love the Black Panthers. I love what they did for our community. I only wish that I was born about a good 20 years before I was, so that I could have been a part of that. Because had I been born in the 50s and was of age in the late 60s, early 70s to go ahead and be a part of that, I would have been a part of that. I definitely would have. I would have been right there with Shaka. Do you love what you feel? I would have been there for real. But powerful, powerful, powerful. Um, I love that they took care of the community. I love that they policed the community. They're an example of community policing. Sometimes it wasn't as organized as it needed to be, but it was a start. It was Black people taking charge of their own communities. Black people standing up for their rights, not refusing to be brutalized by the police, actually fighting for themselves. I love that. I'm not a violent person. I'm not the type of person where I want to pick a fight with you. I've never been that type of person. But as we all hopefully are evolving, I've come to realize that, hey, sometimes we do need to put ourselves in a position where we empower ourselves and we enable ourselves to take care of ourselves because no one else is going to do it for us. So I love that about the Black Panthers, that they did that. They were the first Black organization that was doing that for us. And that it serves as a template and an example. And we need to also learn from their mistakes. They made some mistakes within the party. And Mr. Dixon talks about some of those mistakes in his book. We need to learn about these things because now here we are again in 2020. We're fighting the good fight. We're still having to fight the same fight that they were fighting and that their grandparents were fighting. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. We should be farther along than we are as a people, but we're not. Okay. And it's because we don't learn from our own mistakes. We don't like to own up to our own mistakes, number one, and we don't like to learn from our mistakes. We don't want to act like we don't make mistakes. Well, yes, Black people make mistakes, and we need to learn from the mistakes of our forefathers so that we can finish what they started, yo. We need to learn from their mistakes. Hey, you know what? They jacked up on that, and we need to learn from that mistake, and we need to fix that. We need to tweak that so that we can move further along as a people. Okay, and we talk about there are a lot of outside forces that don't want Black people to make it, that don't want them to progress, that don't want them to evolve. Yes, there is systemic racism. Yes, there are government agencies that don't want Black people to be empowered. Yes, there are just white supremacists out here that just hate Black people. They just hate us for no reason. But aside from all those outside influences that are against Black people, we also have some influences within that causes, oh my God, that makes us vulnerable to attack. And we fail to recognize that, and we fail to acknowledge that and realize that, and learn from the mistakes of the past. Black Panther Party, definitely, COINTELPRO was in there. They had spies, they had plants, they had agents. They were diming folks out. MLK would not have been assassinated if people from within. There was somebody in that hotel room. There was somebody at the Lorraine Motel with Martin Luther King that enabled Martin Luther King to get shot. Yeah, they had the people outside the perimeter with the guns waiting to shoot him. But if the people within were doing what they were supposed to do and weren't selling folk out for a dime and for a platform, Martin Luther King would not have been assassinated that day. We need to understand that there are people within, and they're not necessarily agents of the government. They're not this, they're not that. They're just, they just don't know. They're ignorant. And some of them are mentally ill. I'm going to tell you something. Huey P. Newton. We talk so much about Huey P. Newton. And we all know what he did. If you don't know, Google Huey, Huey P. Newton. Dude did a lot for the Black Panthers. He was a powerful leader, and everybody loved this dude. And you hear PE talk about Huey P. Newton, and other people talk about Huey P. Newton. Talk about him more than you talk about Bobby Seale. And Bobby Seale was the one that founded the Black Panthers. Okay, so Huey P. Newton has some issues. Yes, he was used mightily for a lot of things, and he went to jail for many years for a crime he did not commit. Yes, but what Black people did that was a mistake was idolize this dude because Yah had used him to help Black people. And this is a fatal error. Fatal error. Look it up. This is a fatal error within our community. We idolize people Yah uses, whether he uses them for a day, a month, a year, or several years. We get to the place, I guess, because as a people, we're so used to no leadership or lack of true leadership that when Yah uses someone to bless us, to be a leader for whatever, when he does send a Moses, when he does send a deliverer, we tend to idolize that leader. We tend to idolize that person. And we fail to recognize when Yah says, okay, I've done using this person. It's not because they did anything wrong. It's not because they're in sin. It's not because I'm mad at this person. But okay, I have a purpose and a plan in the earth, and I need to use this person now to fulfill that purpose and that plan. And Black folks fight against that. They have a problem when Yah wants to use somebody else. That period. And they idolize people who Yah uses. And because I don't want to say we because I know better, but Black people tend to idolize people and put people up on a pedestal. And you hear this new term now, this new millennial term, because Yah wants to throw people away. Y'all's not throwing anybody away. Y'all is using someone else. He's in control of all of this. And we have to learn to realize that Yah is in control of all of this and that he wants to use someone else. Period. And when he wants to use someone else, we need to learn to step aside and let Yah use someone else. And anyway, getting back to Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton, everybody worshiped this dude. He went to jail. And you know, sometimes when folks go to jail and they come out of jail, we really, as a community, worship them then after that. Oh my God, they're like a demigod now because they went to jail and they made it and they're out now. And it's I don't know, it's like, oh, they become a saint after they come out of jail. Because that's what, I don't know, that's just something that Black people do. It's phenomena I don't fully understand, but I do recognize that is what happens. And that's really bad because that's what happened with Huey P. Newton. Huey P. Newton got out of jail after many years. And let me back up a little bit. While Huey P. Newton was in jail, there was a female leader. Yes, there was a woman leader of the Black Panther Party. She had to hold it down. She had to clean it up. She had to fix everything that was messed up in the Black Panther Party after they jailed Huey P. Newton and after they done so much and there was a lot of internal strife. Yeah, you just have to read the book. There was a lot of stuff going on. Her name was Elaine Brown, and she did such a wonderful job of fixing the Black Panther Party. What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful model of leadership that she had. And she literally put the Black Panther Party back on the map in the 70s, so much so that they were able to endorse political candidates, and those candidates sometimes actually elected. That wasn't something that was possible under the reign of the other leaders that the Black Panthers had. Because when the other leaders were in charge, all that happened. I mean, and I don't mean to dismiss what they did, but all they were able to do was physically physically protect Black communities and go to schools where there was, segregated schools or desegregated schools where the Black kids were being mistreated, and go there and rough up some things and make sure cops weren't killing and beating us up. And I don't mean to say that that's not a good thing. Those were very good things. But okay, there's another side to leadership too. You can't just say, oh, we're just going to carry guns and beat up everybody, but then you're not implementing laws to make sure that Black people and Black kids are taken care of. You're not changing policies and procedures of any kind because you're too busy being militant. There's a balance to this thing. You have the militant, in case folks want to pop off and get a little ignorant. But you also have to have the legislative, the strategic moves. You also have to have folks in place that know how to talk to people. You also got to have folks in place that know how to talk to leaders, who have a place with leaders, and that the leaders will actually listen to them because they make sense, and what they're talking about is strategic and logical and wise. All of this is needed. All of this is needed. And you can't do one without the other. You have off balance movement if all you deal with, militant. I'm coming up there with my gun. And I'm not saying that's not necessary. That's part of it. But then there's the other part of it too. So we need to learn to come together as Black people because we didn't learn. We didn't learn. So when Huey P. Newton, Elaine did all of this while Huey P. was in jail. When Huey P. came out, Huey P. wanted his throne back. Huey P. started ordering that Black women in the Black Panther Party be beat up. Yes, he did. Yes, he did that. And he essentially just started doing a whole bunch of stuff. And because people were so loyal to him and they loved him and they missed him, they pretty much let him do what he wanted to do when he came out of jail. Huey P. Newton was accepting drug money because the Black Panthers needed money. Everything that Elaine had done to clean it up, Huey P. came back out and criminalized it all over again. And Elaine was like, well, my work here is done because now you're playing. And she, as a female, she stood up. Hey, you're ordering black women to be beat up. We're supposed to be protecting our women. We're supposed to be protecting our community. So she had enough and she stepped down. You know? And eventually, we all know what happened, Huey P. Newton. We all know what happened with the Black Panther Party. That's when the Black Panther Party started going down all over again. And eventually, Black Panthers was no more. Why? Because black people idolize black leaders, even those black leaders who clearly have issues. But Huey P. Newton came out of jail, but he came out of jail with a drug addiction. Huey P. Newton came out of jail, but Huey P. Newton came out of jail with mental illness, untreated mental illness at that. And nobody held this dude to the carpet. Nobody held him accountable and said, dude, we love you. We miss you. We glad you out of jail. Oh my God. But dude, you got some issues. You need some help. And until you get some help, and you especially since you're ordering black women to be beat up, no, we can't have you doing anything for the Black Panthers. Not until you get that straight. You need your mind. You get your mind right. Then, once you get your mind right, then you could come back. Then we'll, work with Elaine instead of fighting against Elaine. There was some sexism and some misogyny within the Black Panther Party. Believe that. Yes, there were women in leadership positions, but there were some men that had a problem with the black women being in leadership. Even though black women did so much for the Black Panther parties. Oh my God, so many sisters. We need to learn from that. We need to learn from the mistakes that the Black Panthers made. And we need to stop idolizing leaders who clearly have problems. They are incapable, for whatever reason, of leading at the time. We need to hold them to the carpet and we need to say, you need to get some help, darling. We love you. We thank you for all that you've done, but you have some issues and you're clearly not leading us. And because we are trying to advance black people, we're trying to fight for the civil rights and the human rights of black people, we need somebody in leadership that's going to do the job and do it with a well mind. And we're afraid to do that. We don't do it in the church. We'll see our church leaders doing all kind of stuff and know that they're doing wrong. And we'll still endorse them and put them and plop them right back up there. We do it in politics. We don't demand that our leaders be right. And we just plop them right back up there and then get mad when they find out that the black people that we plopped up there were wrong. They were doing this and they were doing that. And yeah, the first thing they're going to say, well, your leader is this and your leader is that. We have to start holding people accountable. We have to stop plopping corrupt leaders and stop this, oh, well, we don't throw people away. Time out for all that foolishness, okay? This is not about an allegiance to a person. This is about the betterment of all African Americans. And we don't have the luxury of having corrupt leadership or leadership that ain't supposed to be up there. We don't have that luxury. We don't have the luxury of idolizing foolishness. They have that luxury. It's called white advantage. Yes, the person with the highest office in this land is corrupt as I've never seen such corruption before, to be honest with you. But because they are white, they can do that. It's unfair as hell, and I hate it, but it's the fact. But we can't do that. We can't get away with that. We have to hold our people accountable. Our leaders have to be on the up and up. Got to do it the right way. Got to. And if we realize that our leaders, due to burnout, due to, just being battle worn, and they've just been in so many battles and been in the war for so long that they've shell shocked, they're spiritually PTSD'd, or whatever the issue is, they're mentally unstable, they're in the midst of a breakdown, they need to take a rest. Hey, we need somebody to sit down and talk to them and say, you know what, you need to kind of sit down and get yourself together, because Now you're hurting your people. You don't want to hurt your people. You mean well, you intend well. Hopefully, I think you intend well. But there's something wrong with you mentally. We need to stop upholding people. It's not about throwing people away. This is about the betterment. Those of us who have kids, grandkids, or who are going to have kids, you want to try to make this world a better place for your kids, for all our kids, our grandkids. Well, this is about making sure that that happens. And it's just something that y'all just put in my spirit. We have to stop idolizing leaders. It's just about, oh, well, everybody does wrong and everybody makes mistakes, but you can't throw people away. Y'all's not throwing anybody away. He's just not using them right now. They're in the China cabinet, but they're gonna get used again if y'all say the same as my mama used to say. Sit back and let y'all use who he want to use. Stop fighting and kicking against the pricks. Because as long as you keep trying to prop up Dagon and trying to prop up this one and that one, and it's clear that Yah's hand is not on their life anymore, and it's clear that Yah is not speaking through them anymore, you got to be brave enough and love people enough to say, hey, you know what? This is not working. So it's just something to put on your mind, my people. I come across this way and that way, but I want to help. I really want to help. And it's just sometimes helping comes with correction. And the correction may not seem pleasant, and it may seem critical, and it may seem unloving, but it's really coming from a place of love. I'm tired of what's happening to my people. Aren't you? I've held your time up long enough. Y'all have a great day. Be blessed and be safe.